Hello, I'm Brian Esser from How to Automotive, and in today's video, we're featuring the brand new Milwaukee Tools M18 Fuel 3/8 drive impact, the latest version, so stay tuned for that. So a couple features of the new compact wrench is it's 4.9 inches from the tip of the anvil to the back of the tool here. It weighs at 3.9 pounds with the battery in it. It features this solid state brushless motor and the red lithium ion M18 fuel battery. So the red lithium is their way of saying that this battery is has a computer chip in it, and it can communicate with the tool, and the tool can communicate with the battery, and that way you don't have overheating issues or over torque issues or anything like that. So it has some protections built into it, which is a pretty cool feature. It also can determine how many times this battery has been charged and discharged for warranty purposes. It features a brand new updated LED light system here. It's 3 lights here. Super bright and super functional. You'll see that when we put it to work. So it features 4 modes to operate the tool in. So the first mode, mode 1, you can operate at 800 RPMs. Mode 2 is 1650 RPMs. And mode 3 is 2400 RPMs. And then they have the 4th mode, which is an auto shut off mode / start stop mode. And I'll demonstrate that later on in the video and how that works. So this new compact is basically the M18 version of the stubby impact. Both of the tools feature 250 foot-pounds of breakaway torque and tightening torque. The head of the new compact is slightly smaller than the original stubby. So instead of having a 12-volt battery, you have an 18-volt battery on the new compact, which means you're going to be able to use this tool almost all week long before charging a battery. One of the biggest upgrades is the light. So you see the light on the stubby here, and it's barely lighting up anything. And you can see how much better the new compact light is. One other thing I wanted to show you is how much the battery sticks out here. So you can see the straight edge is set at the tip of the anvil, and the battery at the bottom of the handle has a very little gap. So that means the battery has potential to come in contact with whatever you're working on. So now I'm going to put the tool to work and show you what it can do and some of its limitations. So we put it to work doing quite a few different jobs, brake jobs, engine work. I did not go trying to take off tires because this is a 3/8 drive model, and the 3/8 drive model is really not made for taking off tires. It possibly could take off a few tires on some of the smaller vehicles, but it's not made for that, so I didn't demonstrate that. Right here I'm using it in mode 4, that breakaway mode. So what it does is as soon as you hit the trigger, it gives it full power, and as soon as it senses it spinning, it slows the RPMs down. That way you don't fling your fasteners or your sockets off. So at 250 foot-pounds of torque, it has a lot of torque and power to do most jobs. And with the 18-volt battery, you're going to go for a long period of time before swapping out a battery or charging or needing a charge. And if you're an engine builder or a transmission builder, a tool like this will probably become real handy because you can go that long period of time and you're working more out in the open, so that battery at the bottom is not going to really come in contact or be an issue, and that may be the right tool for you. So this may not be the best tool to use for suspension and brakes. It only has 250 foot-pounds of torque, and as you see here, every now and then you're going to come across a fastener that just will not take loose. So if you're doing a lot of work like this, you may want to step up to a mid-torque. It's still a very compact tool, but much more powerful than this one, and probably more suitable for this type of work. So I swapped out to the mid-torque just to show you the difference here. You'll see on that same exact fastener how easy it took it off. I have a new video on this tool featuring it. If you'd like to check that out, I'll put a link for it in the description of the video and also at the end of the video. Here is the auto shut off mode 4 demonstration here. You'll see as I run it in, it automatically stops. And that way you don't over torque anything. So that way if you're working on anything torque sensitive, you can just run it until it bottoms out. It'll automatically stop. Then you can swap out for a torque wrench and torque it down to spec. So the tool is only 3.9 pounds with a 5 amp hour battery, which is pretty light. And you can see I can work with my arms straight out. And it really didn't put too much strain on my shoulders or wrists or anything as I was using it. It also has a variable speed trigger, which allows you to slowly apply the power to small fasteners like this, so you don't, like I'm doing hose clamps here, you don't want to just give it the full beans and rip the clamp apart. So in this vehicle here, I'm taking the valve cover off. I'm also going to pull the intake off, and I'm going to use the new compact to do as much of that work as I possibly can. And once again, you can see I'm working with my arms pretty fully extended out. And because the tool is so light, it's not that bad of a job or that much pressure on my arms. So I'm using this on all kinds of applications. I did those brakes with this thing. Now I'm tearing this engine apart, and I'm using it all on one charge here on the battery. The M12 stubby would take all these fasteners apart just as well as this tool is doing here. But the only difference is midway through this job, I may have to swap it out, especially if I'm using the 2 amp hour battery. With this M18, I'll go all day and put it back together, and I will not have to swap this battery out at all. To get the tool in there, I had to get creative and flip it upside down. With the stubby, I might have been able to do it right side up. So right here, I'm pulling off all the intake manifold bolts. They're 12mm bolts with an extension. And when you use extensions, that reduces the torque or robs the power of the tool, but it had enough power to do this job no problem. The tool is pretty compact, but it's not going to get into everywhere. I had to swap out for a ratchet here to get to this back fastener, but I don't think even a stubby would have gotten in there. So we were removing this intake to get to this coolant pipe here that you can see it's leaking underneath. There's no way we've been able to change that out without pulling the intake. And using a tool like the compact made a job like this go pretty fast. And where a tool like this shines, it's like on this valve cover here, it has a lot of fasteners all the way around the perimeter and even down the middle here to get this off. And to have a tool like this to speed that process up is invaluable, especially if you're a mechanic working all day, every day. And the M18 fuel battery allows you to run that tool for long periods of time without swapping out. As you can see here, I'm just ripping these fasteners out one after the other. Now that M18 battery also can be a drawback because it's a lot bigger and it's going to come in contact with things and it's not going to be able to allow you to get the tool in some smaller areas or tighter areas. So that is a drawback, and that's something you may want to consider. The stubby, you can put a 2 amp hour battery on there and the handle pretty much will not be in contact if anything is that small. So if you're taking a lot of fasteners off and you have the room to work around, maybe like in an engine rebuild shop where you're just tearing these engines down, this would be the perfect tool. But if you're working in super confined areas, the stubby may be the better tool for you. So if you're interested in the brand new compact, I will leave links for it down in the description of the video. I'm Brian Esser from How To Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, encourage you to subscribe, invite you to head over to the howtoautomotive.com website for more valuable videos like this. Thank you again for watching.